Good morning out there, guys. Today, what I thought I would share about is some of the wedding traditions of the Philippines. Now, a while back, I did a video on getting married in the Philippines, but that video was more about some of the visa issues and the documents you would need and that kind of thing. And I didn't really get into the ceremony. So today I'm going to talk about just some of the Filipino traditions as far as wedding ceremonies go. Now, I'm not going to give you a play-by-play of everything that happens in a Filipino wedding because a lot of it is really the same or very similar. But what I thought I would point out are some of the things that you would see in a Filipino wedding that you would not necessarily see in an American wedding or a wedding in the West. So anyway, that's what I'm going to get into. Show you a picture quickly of my beautiful bride on our wedding day. I feel so blessed to be married to her. But let me go ahead and jump into some of the differences in the weddings, in the types of weddings between, let's say, America and the Philippines. First of all, in an American wedding, you're going to have your entourage for the bride and the groom, the groomsmen and the bridesmaids. But in a Filipino wedding, it's going to be a little bit different in that, in addition to that, you're going to have, first of all, people that are called your principal sponsors, or they're also called ninong and ninang. Ninong being masculine, ninang being feminine. And the principal sponsors are it's a really honored, how could I say this? It's a place of high honor in a Filipino wedding. Because the ninong and ninang, there's not really an exact English translation for that. Godfather or godmother may be the best. But these are people that the bride and groom really respect. And the idea behind a ninong and ninang is that if the bride and groom needed some advice for their married life, these are the people who they would turn to. So that's part of the entourage, or part of the people that are going to come in at the beginning of a wedding. You also have your secondary sponsors that come in. And the secondary sponsors are the ones who are responsible for handling some of the symbols or elements that I'm going to talk about just a little bit later. Another thing that you're going to see, you're going to have a coin bearer. In a typical Filipino wedding, you're going to have a boy's going to come in carrying a little thing with coins in it. And this is a symbol of future prosperity. It's part of the groom's entourage, and it's a male child because presumably the man is the breadwinner. And so that's something you're going to see. And you're also going to see a Bible bearer in many cases. And he's going to come in. This is also going to be a male child that's going to come in bringing the Bible. And we may do that here in the States, but I just don't remember seeing that at the weddings that I've attended. But so those are some of the people that are going to come in at the beginning of the wedding before the bride comes in. Now, another difference, and these next two things that I'm going to talk about are probably, to me, these are the quintessential Filipino wedding traditions. In other words, if I think about wedding traditions in the Philippines, these two elements are what kind of come to my mind immediately. And that is the veil and the cord. And I mentioned that you have secondary sponsors. What happens is the bride and the groom are going to get down on their knees, and the veil sponsors are first going to put the veil over both of them, and then the cord sponsors are going to come and put the cord around them. And as you can see, the cord it's basically just a little white rope, and it's kind of in a figure 8 type shape with a loop for the bride and the groom. Once the veil has been placed on them and then the cord has been placed on them, then the pastor or priest is going to say something like, the veil clothes them in dignity and the cord binds them in unity. So that's what those two elements symbolize, and that's what the priest or pastor is going to say, dignity and unity. Now, another interesting thing is that usually when the bride and groom, while they're still on their knees for the veil and cord ceremony, that's when they sign the contract. And you see a picture there of the pastor having us sign the contract. And in addition, usually that contract will be passed along to the principal sponsors. They're going to have their own table, and all of the principal sponsors also sign the contract. So, like I said, the veil, the cord, and then the contract, those are things that you're probably not going to see in your typical American wedding, but you will see them in a Filipino wedding. A couple more things. I noticed that especially if the couple can afford it, they're going to have some really, really good food at a Filipino wedding. Now, we do have food at weddings in the States, of course, but some of the weddings I've come to, it just varies a lot. I mean, you may just have a few snacks or something like that. But at a typical Filipino wedding, if the couple is able to, they're going to treat you to basically a restaurant-style dinner. So there's a picture of the spread there. I mean, the people that came to our wedding, they could have as much food as they wanted to eat, and it was really good food. So that's another thing that you're going to see. Last but definitely not least, after the reception and all the things that you've done at the reception, the husband and wife have their first dance together, and people, the attendees, different ones of the attendees are going to share their comments and best wishes and all that kind of thing. One of the last things that you do in a Filipino wedding is called the money dance. And this is just another way it's basically a unique way for the attendees to give gifts to the bride and the groom, because what they're going to do is they're going to pin money to the bride and groom's clothing, as you see here in the pictures. And again, it's basically just like wedding gifts, but it's just another way to go about doing that. And in many cases, if you have someone that wants to be really generous, they're not going to be able to pin 500 peso bills on the clothing. So if you have somebody that's really generous, what they'll do is they'll just hand the groom an envelope and he'll put it in his pocket. That's what some of them did. So anyway, those are just some of the things that stand out to me as Filipino wedding traditions. And obviously sharing this with you brings back really good memories, and I'm really grateful that you've taken time to watch it and allowed me to share these pictures with you.